State House, and it was once again a reminder to me of the risks that men and women in law enforcement face every day out protecting our communities, and I'm forever grateful to those who serve, also grateful to their families who serve alongside them, and offer respects today, of course, in memory of our fallen heroes, those killed in the line of duty. I wanted to take a few moments today to address something that is really bothering me right now. You know, I'm a former prosecutor, I'm a former attorney general, I'm also the governor. And what I've seen, particularly over the last week, or few weeks, is something I want to address right now. And that is this trend of car meetups, of drag racing in communities. You know, we've been hearing about this for a little bit now. I've convened roundtables with law enforcement in various regions of the state, and we talked about a number of things, but one of the things that we talked about is that increasingly there are efforts online to send word out and then ask people to meet up at a particular location, oftentimes at night, and then drag race carts. And we saw incidents in Fall River, in Boston over the weekend, and Brockton, and I just want to be really clear on a couple of things. Do not engage in that behavior. Anyone who engages in that conduct will be found and will be held accountable to the furthest extent of the law. Today I'm taking action. I've directed the Colonel of my state police, Colonel Noble, to make sure that MSP resources are used to work with local police departments to identify, apprehend, and punish offenders. There's a lot of work that needs to be done online, and we have monitoring through the Fusion Center and other resources, but I just want to be really clear that we have zero tolerance for this in the state. Some of the perpetrators are from Massachusetts. Other perpetrators are coming into Massachusetts. But whether you're in Massachusetts or you think about coming to Massachusetts, you are not welcome to engage in that conduct at any time, in any place, anywhere in this state. The other thing is I want a message to the public. If you become aware of things, if you see something online, see something, say something, report it to local police, call 911. You know, I just think about Fall River over the weekend and why I'm so upset about this and want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to work state and local to end this trend, Zero tolerance for this in the Commonwealth. Not going to happen here. And if you do it, you're going to be punished. I'm serious. In Fall River, you know, there was a meetup and a couple hundred people there and cars racing, by the way, through a beautiful area, newly refurbished waterfront, you know, that the people of Fall River deserve, quality of life, right? And because they were there was an ambulance that literally was blocked from getting through by those perpetrators, by the people who had gathered. And that ambulance had to go back up onto the highway and around. You know, so I just wanted to be really clear with the public today that we will continue to work state and local law enforcement on this, and I've directed the Colonel of our state police to provide resources and work directly with local chiefs and departments in combating this and holding perpetrators accountable. I wanted the public to know if you see something, say something, call 911 if you get word of any meetup. And finally, to perpetrators, no, not going to happen. If you do it, we're going to find you and we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. I'm about quality of life and making sure that every day in this great state of ours, people are able to feel good about their quality of life, feel safe in their communities, and these kinds of car meetups and the drag racing are counter to that. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. Thank you.
Were the state police not already providing resources to local cops, or?
Oh gosh, of course. In fact, some of the roundtables that I was convening on, we were talking about the many grants that public safety provides to local departments, both for purposes of assisting in investigation, so they have the equipment and the resources to be in the technology to be able to do that. Also, though, important programs around prevention of violence and community work. So that needs to continue. I spoke out last week when I was upset that Donald Trump cut $7 million in funding in Massachusetts for public safety programming, similar to the safety programming that we provide out of our state government. But no, the state police in all these instances responded and continue to work closely with law enforcement. I just wanted people to know that I've specifically asked Colonel Noble to work operationally, and I'm not going to talk about what those operations look like because this is a law enforcement matter, but to make sure that we are really coordinated on this, and particularly when it comes to the monitoring and identification of potential meetups. I want people to know that this is an issue that I take very seriously.
Governor, are there concerns that the president will send in the National Guard to this area if crime does not get taken
He
more
shouldn't.
seriously? I mean,
He
we're seeing
shouldn't.
it in a lot of blue states, right? And now you're saying police officers are getting hurt.
Well, he absolutely shouldn't. There's no need for that here. Here in Massachusetts, local and state law enforcement work really closely and well together. What we're seeing, though, I mean, I look at Illinois, I look at Oregon, California. This is a lot of political theater on the part of President Trump, who I think is looking to distract from a failing agenda around the economy, maybe Epstein files. I don't know. But what I do know is that in Massachusetts, we work closely together. Crime happens. I'm talking about a particular trend that I'm seeing here. The important thing is we're responding. We take action, and we support the men and women in law enforcement and our communities. We're going to continue to do that. So there's simply no reason for any guard to come anywhere near Massachusetts.
Is part of the reason why you're trying to be out front on this because you think the president, that the administration is watching and trying to find these little things that would give them an excuse?
Absolutely not. I'm doing this because it's something that's happening here, and I'm somebody who takes action. And I've just been noticing this trend. I've had a lot of conversations with law enforcement, and I view it as something that's responsible for me to do. And I'm committed to doing everything I can to get after this issue that I hope goes away. I hope that we see no more of this, and that's my message today. No more. No more. You will be held accountable. But I thought, given what I heard, I always take back of, what can I do? What can we do? What can I do as governor to help here? And that's what today is about.
I think we've seen it doesn't take a lot for the Trump administration to deploy the military into these cities, crime rates aside. How concerned are you that some of these videos of what happened at these street takeovers don't rise and suddenly that's the excuse?
Well, I would, it just shouldn't. I mean, obviously I can't control what the president or the Department of Justice decide to do. I will say that Massachusetts continues to be a place that's among the safest states in the country. It's also a place where we work really hard every single day at the local, state level, even with federal partners, to eradicate and address issues of public safety and crime. And we're going to continue to do that and do it in a responsible way.
What preparations are you making? What preparations are you making, though, in case the guard is deployed? It sounded like a statement from yesterday that you're considering it. You're talking to the guard. So
no, I talked to the guard. Right? Look, let me be clear.
If the guard gets deployed?
Look, I'm doing my job as governor. The guard doesn't need to come here. There's no reason for the guard to come here.
So
There's no. No, the guard. Let me tell you. You know who your guard is, right? Your guard. I love our guard, and I'm proud. Massachusetts is home. We're the birthplace of the National Guard. Let me tell you who the guard is. The guard in people are people in Massachusetts, men and women with day jobs. They're teachers, they're firefighters, they're police officers, they're healthcare workers, and then they're citizen soldiers, and they're training on weekends, and they're also deployed with some frequency to missions, often missions abroad. And we have members of the Guard who are currently deployed overseas. It's incredibly important. I'm proud of Massachusetts with our military heritage and history to have such a strong Guard. The Guard needs to be used, though, in a way that is consistent with its mission, which is to protect and serve the United States and defend our freedom abroad. What's so upsetting to see the activation of Guard against their fellow citizens on streets. It undermines the mission of the Guard. It's not what the mission of the Guard is. The mission of the Guard is to be there to provide support, military support for missions abroad. And then, importantly, as you know, in the event of natural disasters in our state, governors who are commanders-in-chief of their Guard will regularly call up their Guard to assist with work that needs doing in terms of response within their communities. So that's what the Guard is for. And as governor and commander-in-chief of our Guard, I'm going to do everything to honor what is the mission and the service and the purpose of the men and women within our Guard. And, I'll just try to continue to be clear that in terms of public safety, I have great respect for the men and women in law enforcement, the police officers here in Massachusetts, in our communities, around this state, who do their job, and I have every confidence in them.
Governor,
Yeah.
last question. Governor, do you say that would be a waste of resources, the way that the administration is using the Guard right now in places like Kent, Illinois?
Of course it's a waste of resources. Of course it's a waste of resources. And also, more than a waste, imagine you're taking all these people who have day jobs, you're taking them away from those jobs, you're taking them away from their families, you're taking them, literally having them move out of their communities, or in some instances, look in California, moving them to another state. That costs money. That's something that the taxpayers need to understand. Donald Trump engaging the National Guard, sending the National Guard to other states, that costs you. That's on you. You're going to pay for that as a taxpayer, and there's just no need for that.
Are you coordinating? Are you coordinating with Attorney General?
Thank you.
Are you coordinating with the AG?
Thank you.
Governor, are you coordinating
Okay.
with the AG for
what?
potential legal challenges in case the Guard is
I'll
deployed?
let the AG speak to that.
Yeah,
And
have you
follow up
heard
on
about
the
it?
ambulance, what happened with that
Governor,
ambulance?
I don't know what happened, but you'll have to ask the folks at Fall River on that. I just learned about that part of it, and it was, I was just really concerned about that, right? That's an example of something